A historic power pushed through tough compromise to reach a deal. The deal prevents Tehran from developing a nuclear weapon while lifting crippling sanctions. So what's exactly in it? We're going to go into it right now. Iran will be developed over the next 10 years, and that means cutting the number of centrifuges by 2/3. The centrifuges are used to make weapons-grade uranium. And as for the enriched stockpile, Iran will slash that by 98%. Tehran will also be allowed to continue its nuclear-related research for peaceful purposes. Also, Iran will also convert 2 of its nuclear facilities to limit the ability to enrich plutonium at a reactor and stop enriching uranium at its underground facility. The International Atomic Energy Agency can demand access to the sites, including military sites, but it might not be immediately granted. If Iran says no, it could take days or weeks to appeal and get approval from an international joint commission. Now, as for the sanctions Iran wants lifted, the U.S. and the UN and the EU will lift them once the IAEA confirms compliance with the deal. Any violation and the economic penalties will return almost immediately. The arms embargo also stays in place, 5 years for conventional weapons, 8 for ballistic missiles. Now, economic sanctions have crippled the economy. Closed the door. Now, that's about to change as the largest economy ever put under sanctions prepares to come out from the cold. Owen Fairclough has this.
It has some of the largest proven reserves of crude oil in the world. But trade sanctions halved Iran's oil exports and deprived its economy of benefiting from the most lucrative natural resource around. Now, the end of those embargoes on Iran is expected to change the energy landscape for global consumers.
Drivers across the world have been enjoying low it is, partly due to the global marketplace. So the key question now is what impact an influx of Iranian oil will have on the prices.
A few early indicators look promising. Price around $57, well off the lows of last year, but still relatively cheap.
You overlay that with OPEC also reducing demand expectations, and I think inevitably that does suggest that the oil price is going to soften a little bit further, at least in the short term. That's bad news, of course, for those oil producers, but it's good news for consumers.
It's especially bad for Iran because some economists think oil needs to be at least $136 a barrel before Tehran bans
Iran adhering to the terms of the deal by people such as the International Atomic Agency, for instance, will take a number of months. I don't think we'd see any crude hitting markets until 2016 at the very earliest.
But there are other bright spots, unlocking more than $100 billion in frozen assets and attracting ambitious investors who see commercial opportunities. And for those who enjoy a taste, Iran is the world's biggest producer of caviar, ready to resume exports that had all but vanished. Owen Fairclough, CCTV, Washington.